I stayed up late last night, and whenever I do that, I get kind of loopy. I get kind of crazy. But I'm laying in bed, and I was just laughing my ass off because I was just thinking, like, what if you were like 600 pounds? You like committed like tax fraud or some crime or whatever. Like, how would they even arrest you? Like, how would they even take you to court to be tried or whatever? If you literally weighed like 600 pounds, and there's definitely people in this country that weigh 600 plus pounds. So I'm just laying there, I'm asking ChatGPT. It's so fucking funny because ChatGPT will never back down. Like, there's always a way for ChatGPT. And yeah, Mabel, an 18-wheeler, they're like, no, the cops would show up in a flatbed and strap you down to the flatbed truck. Because there's no way a 600-pound man is getting in the back of a cop car. It's just not happening. And I was like, you know what? I doubt it. I don't think that's actually gonna happen. Like, they're not gonna fucking do that. You know, if you commit tax fraud or whatever, you know, you don't file your taxes or whatever. But so I'm sitting there, and it was like, is this just a thought experiment? Are you sure? I guess 600. But think about it. 600 pounds. The cops are banging on the door. The fucking SWAT team's coming in. You're 600 pounds and you're just covering yourself in oil. You know, vegetable, baby oil, whatever. You're sitting on your bed just completely covered in oil. You know, butt-ass naked, 600 pounds. You'd literally be impossible to arrest. You would become unenforceable. Other than just popping a cap in your ass, which they can't do that. It's not a fascist dictatorship yet. Their hands are tied. They can't put handcuffs on you. You barely can fucking move. You can't get out of bed. They're not gonna shoot you because you can't move. You're not a threat. You're not a danger to them. But they also can't arrest you. They can't take you to jail. You thought I was asking about this because I got dead set on like a specific fat person? No, I'm thinking of a way for it to. How could you literally become impossible to enforce a law on? They could hose you down. They'd need to like soap you because you're not getting oil off with just water. And even then, think of how many dudes it would take to haul a 600-pound man who's just dead weighting, who's, you know, refuses to budge. I don't know, but I don't buy it. I don't think they could do it. So I'm really curious about this. And this morning I get up and I'm in a little bit more reasonable headspace. And so I'm doing some research. I'm like, maybe this has actually happened. Which, spoiler alert, it has actually happened. I look it up, and apparently there was a 600-pound man in Florida. And they literally could not arrest him. They could not take him to jail. They literally gave up. The state of Florida gave up. Daily Mail's got us covered on this. I pulled up an article for us to look at here. And yes, there are pictures. Daily Mail, another shout out. Huge fan of Daily Mail. Official news source of this live stream. Anyway, here we go. So the funniest part too is that his crime was like literally just dining and dashing. Like, he never paid for meals. He'd go out and order a bunch of shit at Longhorn or whatever, and then he wouldn't pay. I don't know. Is this even real? Like, it's just so absurd. I guess so. I mean, I trust the Daily Mail here. This has got to be legit. But yeah, he's so fat. He scammed 5 free milkshakes. You know, he leaves the place. He's 38 years old. 30 pounds worth of jerky. Crazy, right? So they go to his house. I guess it says on the way to prison here, though. I really need to know details here. What are the logistics? People like this can't drive is the thing. Like, it's really difficult for them to get into a vehicle. But anyway, they couldn't even get him into court. He avoided jail because he's so fat. The medical cost of imprisoning him would be too great. He's bedridden. He breathes with a respirator, and he cannot attend court to be sentenced. Prosecutors said it would cost thousands in medical fees just to bring him before a judge. He's unenforceable. He could do whatever the fuck he wants. So they fined him. That's the only thing they could do, is they could fine him. Why even pay the fine? The government gave up, dude. They gave up. Why pay the fine? What is the punishment for not paying the fine? They hit you with another fine? They garnish your wages? It doesn't even matter. This guy probably doesn't have a job that can be garnished in the first place. And he eats for free because he just never pays. Yeah, and that's what's funny to me as well, is if you look at the end of the article, the prosecutor's like, he's got his prison cell. He's not getting out of that bed. And that's the funny thing. That's the realization I come to, is that the reality is, if you want to become fully unprosecutable, fully unjailable, unpunishable, it requires you to put yourself in a position where you are essentially in a worse place than if you were literally just in jail. That's what it takes. And at that point, yeah, the police will just give up. This isn't the first time this has happened. There was a guy that lived on like a ranch for, he like had unpaid parking tickets or some bullshit like that. And he lived on a ranch with a warrant out for his arrest for like 20 years. And they finally dropped the charges on him. And the prosecutor's like, him being on that ranch is the same as him being in jail. The prosecutor at some point just, they give up. They're like, you know what? You've made life so hard for yourself. You're literally in a worse position than you would be if you went to jail. So we're not even gonna do anything about it. So you're 600 pounds. You require a respirator to breathe. You're now covered in oil, which is gonna be really hard to get off because when you're that heavy, you can't even really bathe yourself. You're really probably pretty sad. Even the state has given up on you. This is not the first time I've gone on a rant about covering myself in oil to avoid capture. It's a legitimate strategy. Head to toe in oil. You're untouchable. When all hell breaks loose and the cops are banging on my door, the bottle of vegetable oil is definitely going to be making an appearance. I'm not going to make it easy. I'm not going to actively resist, but I'm going to passively resist.
Hit that follow button, bitch.